Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Izzy. I've just completed year 13, so I wanted to give a bit of reflection on sixth form and college and a bit of advice, stuff which I wish I knew, which I did not. I did not have a random stranger on the internet yapping to me. So I think this is going to be so useful if you just want to make sure you know everything before sixth form starts and get a bit of a fresh perspective. So yeah, my name's Izzy. I was predicted 3 stars and I've just sat my A-levels. I'm going to vlog results day for you guys, even though it's probably going to be so stressful and I will be bawling my eyes out. I'll break the video down into different chapters so you can just look at what you're interested in. I'm just going to talk through kind of what to expect in sixth form, like friendships, balance, university, all that kind of thing. So yeah. What should you be doing is something like I got asked on my social media. So firstly, do not worry about learning all the content. That is such a waste of time because you'll forget it within a week. Trust me, from personal experience, I did that and that was just absolutely stupid. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I was just wasting my life at that point. So instead, I would make sure you fully understand the spec. So by that I mean, if you're studying like economics or something, just read through the year 12 economic spec so that you know what's to come. So then you can kind of start to organise your notes from the get-go rather than be like lost, like what am I actually studying, like how much content is there going to be. And then it also solidifies your choice in A-levels, because if you don't like anything which is on the spec, you're obviously not going to like the subject when you study it. So it's a great way just to make sure you know what's going to happen in year 12 at least. Another thing which I would recommend is doing some wider reading over the summer, but this can be like very wider reading. So like understanding what you might want to study at university. So for example, I read some economics books, so then I like found them really interesting and I was like, genuinely, maybe I do want to study this at university, and that kind of thing. That's just a great way to set yourself up so you have less stress during the end of year 12 when it starts to get stressful, as you need those predicted grades. Okay, the second big event you're going to have is results day. Firstly, I'm so sorry that you have to have this playing on your mind all the time, because honestly with A-level students we've got the same thing at the minute, so I totally understand where you're coming from and there's not much someone can say to you to really ease your nerves, but I'm really going to try either way. So during GCSE summer, I was going to say A-level summer, I was so nervous because I thought I'd flunked my history paper and I love history with my whole heart. So I was so nervous, and then it turned out on results day, I literally got a 9, which is what I really wanted because I was doing it at A-level. So you may be thinking, but you were always going to get the 9. But at the same time, I was convinced I wasn't. So the main thing is not to get caught up in what you think you're going to get, because you literally cannot do anything about it now. And I know that's not that helpful, but I'm telling myself the same during A-levels. You know you put your like heart and soul into those papers very likely, so just don't worry about it. So that's an example where results day went well. But say results day doesn't go how you planned it to go. Like I was aiming for an 8 in German and I ended up getting a 7. I really struggled with the subject. But at the end of the day, it just tells you where your strengths and weaknesses lie. So say you do better in the coursework subjects, then in A-level you might want to focus more on coursework. So results day is more about taking how you've done and then using it to your advantage rather than getting caught up on the actual grades, because genuinely no one has asked me for my grades apart from universities ever. Like even on results day no one cared what I got. Like I do not value anyone on what grades they get, and nor should your friends if you have them as friends. So yeah, that's the first thing. So when it comes to university, yes, universities, they're gonna look at your grades. I cannot deny that. I think all your teachers will probably tell you that, but some care more than others, firstly. Secondly, there's so many different routes that it does not matter. In fact, I wish I looked more into the apprenticeship routes because some are absolutely amazing. The next thing is adjusting to the new schedule. So Year 12 is such a big change from GCSEs, but it's not as big a change as you think. You just have to be in control of your own time rather than the school defining what you're going to do and when. But then you can just do that yourself when planning out your day. If you're like a to-do list maker like me, or you like to block it out using Google Calendar, it's not that big of a deal and it actually ends up being not that different. The only thing which is different is your freeze, so you have a lot more freeze just to do what you want. But at the start of year 12, this is not a time to get stressed out about what you should be doing, what you should be studying in your freeze. It's genuinely a time to relax and enjoy your life, kind of extend that year 12 summer into September by making some new friends, chatting to people, kind of just understanding whether you like subjects or not, because that is kind of the most important thing at this point, and just relaxing and getting used to the new schedule. How many A-levels should I take? So obviously some people do 4 and some people do 3 A-levels. But A-levels were a lot harder than I was expecting. I was debating doing 4 A-levels and then I was going to do like business as the 4th, so it was a bit easier than my other A-levels. But I honestly don't know if it's worth it, because if the universities don't care, like most universities will not look at you different if you do 4, 3 A-levels. So only if you're really passionate about academics and you genuinely want to do 4, do 4, but don't do it just for like boosting like your confidence or something like that. but doing 4 can be a useful tool in terms of doing 4 and then dropping 1, so you make sure you actually pick the 3 A-level subjects you want to do without having to like be switching everywhere. It's just a quicker way to do it. When it comes to picking your A-levels, obviously you've already done that, but you might have done it in a bit of a rush because you had your GCSEs going on at the same time. So I would honestly just take a deep breath and think, like, do I actually want to study these, or should I quickly switch? You can switch normally up until December, at least that's how it worked at my school. And it is worth switching if you didn't like the subject, because it is a lot of intense hours you have to put into each subject. And the subject, which is maths, which I dislike the most, I've done the worst in. So I think genuine like for the subject does play a big role in what grade you actually get, and also how easy you find the GCSE. So that's a great way to look at results day. If you are a bit unsure though, I would recommend doing 4 and then dropping 1, because it's such a good way just to, you know, pick your favourite and then kick 1 out. In terms of balance, so getting a job, sports, stress, and like having a social life, during the start of sixth form, it will be significantly easier and then droop towards the end, particularly during year 12 mocks and then year 13 again. Getting a job, firstly, I cannot say how great it was. I loved having the financial freedom, so now I can book holidays in year 13 summer without worrying too much. And then I also have learnt more about finances when it comes to going to university. In terms of sports, your sport, you should be able to keep it up through most of your A-levels apart from in peak exam seasons. But at the same time, so I was like a competitive dancer, but I had to cut this down because just the hours were too much and I could not balance it with studying, and I had to prioritize my long-term goals. So it's all about like looking forward and being like, what do I actually need to prioritize in my life, because life is going to get so busy. And lastly is friendships. So friends are so important during sixth form because they allow you to deal with the stress, have someone to talk to, and when something goes wrong you can literally cry to them. Like, it's so lovely. But at the same time, you don't want to put too much pressure on these friendships, especially if you're moving school, because it is kind of a 2-year thing and you just genuinely might not find people you click with. Sometimes you just get unlucky and you won't, and it's not a reflection of you, it's just a reflection of kind of who you've ended up being like sit next to in a class, because it is 2 years, which is kind of transfer years to university. So if you have amazing friends, absolutely amazing, great. But if you don't, like, you're going to meet some amazing people in your life, and this is just 2 tiny years. So it's just kind of a transition phase, which is all about focusing on yourself. And if friends help you do that, great. But if they don't, that's absolutely fine as well. And lastly is university applications. Honestly, you may be daunting this, but don't. It's honestly quite exciting because you get to find out what subject you love and then study it further. Or you might be interested in an apprenticeship, in which, great, you get to make some money. It's all about for deciding whether you want to do an apprenticeship or university. Honestly, if you're not sure, write a pro-con list. What do you want to do? I think it's something we really need to consider at the minute, especially because I didn't consider it quite enough, and I do wish I applied to some apprenticeships because there is some amazing ones out there. Honestly, it's crazy, and they're respected just as much as university. So the university application cycle really begins from the end of year 12, in which you'll start going to university open days and visiting campuses and having taster lectures and that kind of thing, and it's super exciting and doesn't really get stressful until you kind of have to write your personal statement, because then it becomes real. But for the start of year 12, just literally enjoy exploring universities, the prospect of moving out. It's not a daunting process at the start. Just kind of understanding what universities you could apply for is absolutely amazing. I remember sitting in the UCAS sessions and I so enjoyed it. I was like, yes, I'm moving out. So I really liked it. Anyway, I think that's everything. So it's so nice to do this video. I've really enjoyed yapping to you. If you have any questions, literally put them in the comments and I will respond to every single one. I'm going to be uploading loads of different content to do with studying, and then uni vlogs and some vlogs over the summer and productivity, and then also maybe a results day vlog if I'm not crying too much on results day, which I don't think I will be, but it's fine. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon, so make sure to subscribe, I guess. I feel so weird saying that.